All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Klaus Rinner. I'm a professor at Toronto Metropolitan University, formerly known as Ryerson University. I'm in the Department of Geography and Environmental Studies, and I work a lot with geospatial data, data analysis, visualization, and decision support methods. I've been quite active in the pandemic, assessing the pandemic response and writing about that. And on my link tree that I'm hoping I'm recording right now, my second screen, um, you can find relevant links in the bottom half. So there is, for example, my Substack blog that looks currently like this. There's a post coming out overnight today on April or early in the morning of April 18, 2023. So don't miss that. And I will be talking today about self-publishing my next book. And the book consists of posts from this blog exclusively. There's 24, the last 24 posts from the Klaus R 2020 Substack blog. And I'm saying the last 24 posts because I have published the previous posts in the books that are part of the Chronoia series on Amazon. And I have the window here. Those are private browser windows because otherwise it would show some information here that I don't want to share with you. So there's already 4 books in that series, the Chronoia series. And the first one was the Chronoia blog book, published that in late 2020, November or December 2020. And then there's 3 more, plus a collection of the first 3, so not including the last one. This is printed in grayscale or black and white. The other ones are printed in color. And I want to show you how I'm going to put together tonight, right now, the 5th volume for the series, because I've been asked by colleagues about the self-publishing experience. And just before we leave this window, I want to show you more information available for one of the volumes. We'll just look at the first one here. And we'll actually open the link, I guess. So most of you will know Amazon, I suppose. You have the type, there's a Kindle ebook edition as well. And we're looking at the paperback here, published November 17, 2020. Grateful for the one review I got there, which is very positive. And then there's a description of the book. It is marked as part of a series, which I started only after I had already published 2 or 3 of them. It has the length. The 4 first volumes are around 100, a little under 100 pages. Today's volume will be longer. Yeah. And maybe important here, publisher, independently published. That's the official label that Amazon suggests for this type of publishing. And you see it has an ISBN, and we'll talk a little more about that in a moment. And one more important thing is which category, sorry for the jumping up and down here, which category the book is assigned to. So respiratory diseases is one of 2 categories that I could choose, and it's number 220 in that category, which, well, maybe this video will help boost my sales a little bit. I will not withhold that information from you. I'll show you my sales stats, which are not really very great. So I had written a number of blog posts in the early phase of the pandemic, and Then others had started publishing books, and I heard how some people seem to value the book form. And actually, if my camera is recording, which I'm not 100% sure, then you might see me holding up this first volume. Those are relatively thin booklets, printed in color. It looks really nice, I have to say. And so that's, I guess, why I'm sharing this, because I'm quite happy with the process and the result. And so the book form also seemed to be more difficult to censor rather than, cutting someone off from an electronic platform. It's much more difficult to censor a book once it's printed. So that was also part of it at some points during the last 3 years. Now, before I actually get to the platform, I will sign out here so you see the entrance page, but I want to show you another publisher's page first. I think I will minimize my own video here from now on and maximize this window. So this is a Canadian publisher, because I'm not too fond of supporting major global corporations that are based in another country, the United States, rather than at home. So I looked at some Canadian self-publishing options. And one of the ones that come up when you type, how to self-publish a book in Canada or something in your internet search, you might stumble upon this page or similar pages. And they are very upfront about the costs, which is really nice, but unfortunately, well, rather disappointing. So the costs depend on a number of things, including the length. In academia, we often talk about the length of articles or books in terms of the number of words. So 60,000 words is their average. This current book that I am publishing tonight is 40,000 words approximately. The previous ones were more in the order of 20 to 25,000, to give you an idea. So that would be 100 pages. 60,000, I guess, would be maybe 250 pages or something, depending, of course, on other factors. So these costs will be, if they depend on the word count, will be a bit higher than what I would face. But you can see here, average of almost 6,000 Canadian dollars to publish a book. And yeah, you'll see in a moment with my 4 volumes so far, I've basically not sold anything. So that would have been a total loss, in contrast to what I'm going to show you, which is free. I still don't want to completely discard or discourage anyone from looking further into this. There's different components to the cost. And for example, if you need professional editing, it might be worthwhile or even necessary to incur this cost. This additional cost for design. We'll look at the cover design today. And marketing, which is something that I did not have. So maybe that would have helped to sell a significant number of books, but maybe not. I'm not confident that that would be the case. And then printing and distribution, which is confusing. It sounds a bit like they would actually not print any books until they're either sold or you request them at cost and then try to sell them privately, which is something you can do with the Amazon avenue as well. I'll just mention briefly, I know that I'm a relatively slow speaker in English, and so I wouldn't be surprised if some of you are watching this video at 1.25 or 1 and a half or faster speed, that might be advisable. Yeah, and then they do warn of the free publishing options, but we'll be looking at that as an alternative. So with that, I can access the top of the window here. So I just have to use key combinations to get to this window. So this is the kdp.amazon.com platform, Kindle Direct Publishing, but we are going to create a paperback version, so it's not just for ebooks. And yeah, you sign in with your Amazon account that many of you will already have. And then I am landing on my publishing page here, my dashboard or whatever it's called. And you can see one of the Konoya volumes. I'm not sure how they sort the volumes because this is, well, actually it is the last one, yes, so that will be correct. Then you see a book that I haven't mentioned yet that was a side project of mine. Volume with photographs, and then the other Konoya books here. The live, I have some options, and by the way, I do have some promotion advertisement options. We're not going to look at that now. There's some guidance that you can find in the help and community files on the platform itself. What are we going to do? I have a little guide here. So I gave you an intro and talked a little bit about self-publishing options. And now we're going through these steps for publishing a paperback with Amazon KDP. So first things first would be to write the manuscript. This is done for me and at least one other person I communicated with would also be in the situation that they've already written text and thinking of republishing it in a different format, so as one collection, whether it's electronic or then maybe even printed. So that was my situation. Obviously, if you're writing your novel or whatever, or a textbook from scratch, you might not be quite there yet. So there's nothing to show you right there, because what I will then show you is the formatting or the formatted manuscript. So again, if I look at the book here in front of me, without showing it to you, I had to determine a size. I chose the 6x9" size, and then I stuck to it for the volumes of the collection. So I think that's, at this point for me, that's the main thing, to just make them consistent. I really like that format. It's like between a European pocket book format and full-size book format. You'll see how the texts look when they're formatted for that size. Download template. Yeah, so let's get into the system with a few items I want to show you there. An important link here is right near the top, the tools and resources. Opens a new window. So you can have the two running. I'm actually going to put that into the same window as a second tab. And yeah, there was the word template was mentioned. So let's just search for template, paperback and hardcover manuscript templates. First link. Choose a template. There's some instructions that we don't need today. Most common trim size for paperbacks is actually the 6x9. Maybe that's why I chose it a couple of years ago. And then there's a download option to get those templates, and I do have them. So I'm gonna go through the network again. I just need to find my folder here. You get a zip file, and in the zip file there's a couple folders for different languages. Don't ask me what the difference there is. And then in each of them you have multiple copies, one for each of the available formats. 6 by 9 inch doc. Just gonna open that and pull that into my second screen here. So you see a Word document. I'm using LibreOffice, a free Office software, but it's working mostly the same as Microsoft Office. And I have this set to show 2 pages here at the bottom. The pop-up says book view down here. That's on the other screen. And yeah, title page. So the title page is a right-hand page, and then you have the left, so the reverse, the back of the title page, which is not the cover, but the first page inside the book, and then the back of that, then the second page on the right-hand side, and then the table of contents, also on the right hand, acknowledgements, and then it starts with chapter 1, right page, left page, right page. There's a difference in the formatting. There's a wider margin in the center, so on the left of a right page or on the right of the left page. Those are small little things that you kind of notice as you go along. So I did at some point start with a template like this, but I'm gonna close this now and show you my manuscript. So you see the same thing. Make it a little bigger. Right-hand title page, in this case, the Chronoia Perfecta. In case my camera is being recorded, I'll show you on the actual book the inside. So this will be the first page of the manuscript, behind or after the cover. And from there, we have the copyright information, independently published. There's space for the ISBN. That's something we will need to add in a moment. Table of contents. I see that I have to make one change here, which will be rather tricky, but we'll deal with that in a few minutes. I've written acknowledgements again, and then start with the first, which is actually the most recently posted, which actually hasn't come out yet. It's going to come out at midnight, blog posts. And then we start from the earliest, which was from June of last year, and go forward chronologically. So you see the right pages for the start of the next chapter, which is convention in academic writing for sure, maybe all writing. I usually have a title, a subtitle, and then I provide the originally published date so people can refer to the chronology of what I wrote about during those years of the pandemic. And some posts are quite short, some have more pictures than others. I'm using the color pictures because it's either all color or no color, and we'll see the pricing later. The color version is affordable too, so why not use that? And so there's one I wanted to show you there's one very long chapter. I don't know, I think it's 30 pages. That post was very long. This is the one. There we go. So I don't know how many pages. One other item I want to mention is you see the links are still active here. So in all previous volumes, I pulled out every single link and copied them into footnotes that then appeared at the bottom of the pages. So that would be the typical line separating the text from the footnote area. But to be honest, I want to submit the manuscript in this current state. And one thought is the ebook. I don't remember exactly the order and the of operations to create the ebook from the same manuscript. And for the ebook, I would want the links to be in the text, right? So people can click there as they read if they want to follow a link. And I don't remember whether that was automatically restored from the footnotes or whether I branched off a version for the paperback where I created the footnotes and then used the previous version with the links in the text for the ebook. And I'm kind of also thinking in the paperback, whether it's in the text, behind the text, so not accessible, or the link is spelled out in a footnote, people still can't click it if they have a paperback in their hand as a physical copy. So it might not be worthwhile going through this effort again. So yeah, that's that. It ends, this volume will end quite unceremoniously after the last chapter. All previous ones had an introduction and a conclusion. But I didn't have time to think too much. And the last post, the one that is currently still the current post from February 7th on the blog, is a nice and important one. So I thought I'll just conclude with that. So that is the manuscript. So there's only one item that needs to be added, which is the ISBN. You need to create an ISBN, which is one of the first steps we'll go through, and then put it in there, and then the manuscript will be ready or almost ready, save for this issue with the table of contents, for submission to Amazon. So how does that work? I'm going to, so remember this was the tools and resources. Now we're going back to my dashboard here, and we'll just get started by clicking the create button. And this already looks new, so bear with me as I get through this. What would you like to create? Pick an option and we'll get you started. You can save your progress as you go. That's true and very helpful. So I already have a series page. So this is not about creating a new volume in the series. That was my brief thought here. So yes, we'll want to create a paperback first. We'll create an ebook later, although maybe it would be more clever to do it the other way. But I've done it in this order just because originally I just wanted the paperbacks, and then the platform KDP kept insisting that I should consider creating an ebook as well. And I was actually quite happy to do that. So now some information is required here. And the way I prepared for this is that I collected most of the information that will be required in a separate text document, which is here. So, or maybe I'll leave that on the second screen, just show it to you for a moment. So I have title, subtitle, description, keywords. I don't even remember that they are required. And then importantly, the two categories, respiratory diseases, as I showed you, and also disease and health issues under social sciences. We can browse a little through these. And I will also keep track of the ISBN in this text document. So I'm just gonna copy the title and the subtitle, the Coronaria perfecta, subtitle Global Hygiene Theater and Health Delusion, Cliffhanger or Closure. I can tell you a little more about the title when you see the description. Series. If your book is part of a series, add series details so readers can easily find it. Existing series. That is the only one. It is main content. So that collection of 3 volumes reprinted in black and white, that was related content. The other 4 volumes and this one are main content of the series. Coronaria perfecta is book 5 in the series, the Coronaria series. I did not enter this with small lowercase letters, but I was not able to change this the last time around, so we'll leave it. And I'm confirming that this is correct. That's a bit overkill. Book number 5, edition number. So this is a bit dangerous. You have to check like an edition's particular version, edition number. I think you need a new ISBN for that, so I don't want to get into that ever. I need to provide my name here in the correct boxes. I do not have a middle name. Contributor. If others contributed to book, you can add them here. No, that's not the case. Description. So that's what I have in my text document. Copy. Paste. This fifth Coronaria volume includes blog posts with data and document analysis and commentary about the COVID-19 pandemic from June 22 to April 23. The 24 chapters discuss various elements of the waning crisis by integrating and critiquing scientific articles, government reports, as well as legacy and social media contributions. The text is written from a skeptical perspective that questions the mainstream narratives and the resulting public health and societal response. I'll leave this as is. And we will have a chance to revise this if we're not happy with it, but sort of, I'm not super happy with it, but it's fine for now. Publishing rights. I own the copyright and I hold necessary publishing rights. That would be important. You can also use this process to reprint some historic material that is free of copyright or other public domain work. This is where the keywords come into play. So let's see, how can I efficiently get them over? I'm just going to copy them all. Okay, interesting. So data analysis is the 4th keyword. Decision support. I'm using some keywords from my scholarly academic area of expertise to link it to my work. This is not just extracurricular activity. This is part of my research and my community outreach for my research. There we go. So those are the 7 keywords that I could think of and that I used for previous volumes. So we'll leave it at that. No content building. Choose categories. So this is a bit hard to keep track, which is why I copied it into my notes here. So I'm looking for nonfiction, health and fitness, diseases, respiratory. And if I had more time, I would maybe review whether there's new, better fitting categories. But these seemed fine. You can also check similar books that have been published by others to see what categories they're listed in. I guess they're listed with the category where they have the highest ranking. Like you saw only one category listed, the book, the 222nd most bought book in this category. And I think I have to check the other one off in the same dialog. Yeah, it says choose up to two categories. So be careful not to uncheck that one. And we're looking for social science, disease and health issues. Now, social science is sort of the closest broad area to my academic field. That's why I use this disease and health issues. So that's a second level down right there. Save. And have another look. That looks good. Adult content, language situation, inappropriate. No. Save as draft or save and continue. That's what we're gonna do. And now we're on the second tab out of 3. There's a lot more work, but we're making progress, I guess is the message here. So this is something, the ISBN here, the print ISBN was the two options. That's an important decision to be made. I can't go through the whole thing here, but basically if you use the free ISBN from Kindle Direct Publishing, this book cannot be taken elsewhere to a different publisher using the same ISBN. It is bound to Amazon. So I decided that's fine, and I will get an ISBN here. You can use free. This free can only be used for distribution to Amazon, and its distribution partners cannot be used with another publisher. Exactly. And as soon as we get this, we will copy this and paste it into my notes here. And I will immediately open the manuscript and I'm gonna paste the whole thing here. So I'm just going to mention this here this one time. I use paste special all the time, and in LibreOffice, I'm not sure whether Word is the same. I can actually use Control-Shift-V, and that is the paste special. I still have to usually find the unformatted text, so I just don't want to screw the paragraph formatting or the font or anything. Now this is double, the 979 and the 8 are double. I've not conclusively established where these dashes go, but I guess I'll confirm with the previous volume. Okay, so in some previous volumes, I actually had more dashes between numbers later on, and even the last one, I had a dash before the last digit, so there were 8, and then the last one, maybe we'll just do the same here. My understanding is that once it's all submitted and being reviewed by Amazon, they look at basically two things: whether the ISBN printed in the manuscript is the same as the one that was assigned in the dashboard. And secondly, that there's no more than one empty page once in a while, no multiple empty pages after each other. No clue what the concern is there. So that was added and save. And because this isn't Word, it always asks me to confirm whether Word is okay. I'm happy to confirm that. And while we're here, I'll make an attempt to correct the table of contents, and I think it actually looks like the numbers are not current yet. So update index. Yeah, this just jumped up, so that's good as well that we did this. So one of the last things, obviously, to do, because what I did yesterday evening was to move all chapter start pages onto a right-hand side. So sometimes I had to insert a page break to achieve that. And that slightly increased the total number of pages to 182. Yeah. So now how do we get these closer? There's two, I can think of two options. I think the last time I just copied the whole thing and then deleted it and pasted as a special, so pasted special and reformatted it because there is, I don't even see how these page numbers are getting there. I can't even access them, to be honest. And this is also not signs. This is a fill that's defined in the table of contents. So one thing will try would be to edit the index. But before I try that, this reminds me of another situation where I had endnotes and I could edit the formatting of everything around endnotes through this function. So is there a table of contents or similar function here? Not really. Then let's do the edit index. Styles. So we only have one level, main headings, but I don't really understand where I would get started with this. What are my other options here? Columns. One column, but I don't see settings. It's not background. Top stop. Tab position relative to paragraph. Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure whether to start hyperlink end. Oh, okay, interesting. Hyperlink start. That means that the whole item is linked to the page where this chapter starts. So we want that. And then we have the number, chapter number. So for example, the 1 in front of Happy Termination Day entry, and then this tab stop and the page number. So this tab stop is too wide or too far off, but it should be aligned right. Tab position relative to paragraph style indent. Okay. So it sounds like we just need to somehow work with the paragraph. Here's the paragraph. Edit the style. Use tab, right tab, 0.5 centimeters. Does that make sense? From 13.5, that will be 23, but this is further, but maybe it starts at this indent. So let's just remove the 50, apply, nothing. Oh, how do we delete this one? Ouch. Okay, that was that. Good thing we saved after the ISBN was created. Uh, yeah, I think we will skip this for the purpose of this video. Why is this window still here? Uh-oh. So I'm pretty happy with LibreOffice, which I've been using on this particular laptop only. I have work normally on other computers. It's been pretty neat and compatible with Word, but occasionally I have issues like this that are actual crashes that are not recoverable. So right now this is like really bad. So I'm just going to use the task manager. Hopefully my display disappeared. Hopefully you're still there with me. And even have here's LibreOffice. There we go. So that's gone. Reopen it. It offers me a recovery. And has the window here, but it looks a bit unhealthy, this window. Well, I'm guessing you guys will be skipping this part of the video, which is a good idea. So I'll leave this like this for now. I think I'll probably be able to copy and then paste special and quickly reformat this, but I don't want to do this right now. Just gonna save again and close. Okay. We entered the ISBN. That's the main thing. Will not edit this. Oh, important decision now on the print options. We will go with standard color interior with white paper. The first volume, I went with premium color because I have color images like charts, for example, with different colored lines and points, and thought premium color would be important to have, but I don't see much of a difference in the second, third, and fourth where I use standard color. So that works. 6x9, like we said, bleed. So we don't need bleed on the inside because we don't have um, graphics that go to the border of the page. We need that for the cover, but that's separate. And the cover finish is glossy. All right, so upload paperback manuscript. And I like to sort my files by date to make sure I get the last one, but this is not the correct folder. This is the one saved at 10 p.m., which is right now. So it's being uploaded. I'll give it a few seconds. And then it will be processed on the server while we can continue working, which is a cool feature. So it doesn't say anything, but I think the page will soon update. And shows something else here, something like being processed. There we go. Or yeah, uploaded successfully and now processing your file. So there's some automatic processing. It's not submitted yet or anything like that. While that's happening, we'll check the book cover. Two options. Use the cover creator. I did that for that photo book and works quite beautifully. But I want more control for these volumes. So I've been using the upload cover that I generated separately. Now, I don't have the cover ready yet, though, because I want to show you how I create one. And for that, I do need the tools window. So we could just save our progress and go to the other page. Maybe I will avoid doing that. And oh, I still have this open here, so perfect. So I will just search for cover, and the cover creator that you just saw as an option comes up first. But I'm more interested in create a paperback cover, for example. And here they offer the cover creator tool or manual instructions. And if we have a quick look, so again, not sure I will be able to have this on the recording, but if you think of the cover, you actually open the book to show both the front and back of the cover. That's the one designed page that you see there. So if the recording is the same way, nothing mirrored or anything, you actually see many of the issues. You see the front page, sorry, here, where on the screen it says it has the round marker for Kindle Direct Publishing, self-publishing, digital and print. And on the back of the book, you see I have my picture and a bio and a summary of the book, for which I will use the same description. And then at the bottom, you have a barcode, and you see the space for the barcode being reserved in this template. And that's an important part. Oh, and you see the spine, the space for the spine here, which depends on the number of pages in your book. So if we open this calculator and make our selection, standard color, or paper, there's no other option. Page turn direction, I wasn't sure about that. I believe it's left to right. Measurement, I do prefer metric, but they're all crooked, so here we'll stick to the inches. So for example, this would all be in millimeters or something. And the page count, importantly, I believe it was 182. Calculate, and then you get this template right there. So if you had more pages, the spine would be thicker. And so what I did here is I downloaded the template. Let me just see, I did this before as well, but I don't see it here. So let's just do this again. Oh, yes, I did that. So cancel. It must be here somewhere. um, but where? Oh, cover. Yeah, subfolder. Shouldn't create all these subfolders. So it says it provides a PDF, but it actually also provides a PNG image, which is helpful, as you will see in a moment. So this is that image. So looks a bit different, but the the picture on the page explains the different lines and so on, and you kind of will eventually make sense. And this area is reserved, the yellow area. You cannot print your uh, cover text, for example, on that area. So maybe I'll shorten this a little bit and just tell you what I did here. I opened PowerPoint, blank PowerPoint, created a slide of the dimensions, well, I guess the outside dimensions of this. So here, the numbers covered, but whatever the full cover width for the width and height, yeah, so a bit more than 2 times 6 and 1 times 9. And then I pasted this image in there and adjusted it to fit exactly onto that slide so that I had it at 100% size, right? And then I plugged my elements onto it. And then as the last step, removed it, or maybe it was covered simply by the picture, the photo that I have on my volumes. So I will simply open my current draft design. Actually, no, I will open the design that I have from the previous volume, which I created in the way that I just described. So I'm not sure whether behind this photo, for example, we can actually have a look because we'll remove that photo anyways. And there's nothing behind, so I guess I had removed that template. But imagine the template would be behind, and this is how I start aligning the other elements. So since I removed the picture, and it's good to have for orientation, I'll show you what I have available from my beach. I have a bit of a recurring theme with the discarded masks in nature on the beach. So this is the one that I like the most. And there's 3 more. One was two with the rock. That might be a nice one too. I kind of like the brightness and the reflection of the sun on this one. So I guess let's use this. So we will insert image and find a photo in the picture. And before we move this to the back, just since we still can access it directly, we'll just make sure it's at least as big as the entire slide. Arrange and to back. And all good. There's nothing in front that's not supposed to be there. I see some odd coloring here, but I think I will ignore that. Okay, so the name has changed here. And I'm a bit confused because I thought I had already edited this information, but don't know where that would be. Because the file is already named, so it's the correct file. So I guess I did not edit this. My subtitle might be a bit longer than this. Oh, this is another absolutely needed paste special, and I'm even leaving a letter here to make sure that there is still a letter in that font, just to make sure. And then there's an issue. So in the manuscript, I moved the N dash or M dash down in between the lines. Yeah, kind of like that look to some extent. And for some reason, the space actually moves things. Yeah, okay. I guess I'm like this. And I see I have to make some updates here too. Because my university changed its name recently. Although we like to refer to the old name for a while because of recognition. Professor at Toronto Metropolitan University, formerly Ryerson University, Toronto, Canada. He teaches geospatial data analytics and so on. And this is possibly okay with the overlap of the extension of this text, because I think the description is shorter than it was before. I'll leave the dot there so I have a font reference. Yeah, this is shorter. So we can just make this smaller without moving it. Because remember, we need to keep this space down here available for the barcode for the book. So I don't recall that I wanted to make any other changes. So we'll leave that. Normally I'm picky about alignment like this, for example, but because it's front and back, nobody will really notice, well, except myself, perhaps. So I don't really try to move it up, except that there's several different elements that we need to grab. There's one. Okay, why can't I grab those other elements? That's weird. Okay, it doesn't really show what's selected, but this is what we need. And I can't really see whether it's this position or that. I think it's this. Cool. So save. And oh, PDF was the upload format needed, wasn't it? Where are we? Okay, I lost my lost the window here. Upload PDF only. Okay, makes sense because as you might know, PDF is the format that basically represents what things will look like exactly. So that's definitely something we want. So LibreOffice has a direct PDF export, and we'll go into the cover folder here. And that should be it. Let's see. Where's the file? Same thing. And above in the background, you can see that processing node is not there anymore for the manuscript. So, oh, now it's back. Interesting. Cover uploaded successfully, processing your files. So we'll leave that as is. Book preview, we have not, I don't think we can preview it yet. That's what's happening now. Yeah, I remember. So while it's processing it to create a preview, that we'll try to include that in the video. But let's see whether we can move away from this page. No. Okay, we have to preview first. Let me see whether we can. Yep, browser window is too small. Okay. Material files. Okay, that looks like it will actually open. Thinking whether to stop the recording or not, but I think this is really not taking very long, so it might be informative to see the speed of it. You see the items that are being checked. Quality issues, that could be the resolution of the image or the PDF file that includes the cover image. Print size. Well, I guess it looks at the print, the margin of the manuscript file. Checking your fonts, as you may know, like fonts can be included in files or not if they're common, but are they common on both platforms that you're working on? And I think we are almost there, and I will now increase the browser window as suggested. So this is a realistic view of the finished product. So we're on the cover page out of 182 pages. And there is an error. Your expected cover size is, but the file is smaller. Oh yeah, so we see the picture doesn't go all the way to the border. So I guess my PDF slide was probably, maybe was the actual 9 by 12 instead of the extra, although I'm not really sure. So I'll have to go back into the PowerPoint and just zoom in slightly on the image so that it reaches the sides and will overlap a little bit at the top and bottom. So that's manageable. And let's just stay in this window for a moment. So it looks like there is no other errors that were detected in this automatic check. So that's very good. So then it's just about checking whether everything looks fine. And so here we actually don't see, or it's not very obvious that the page numbers are an issue. If you see where the page number of the page itself is printed, you see that it's not aligned. So that's definitely something I want to correct, but it could pass. I'm not sure why the ISBN is printed on the right hand. I don't like that either. I'll also check into that. Other things that I've resolved at the manuscript stage is for some reason when I pasted my text, and those I pasted not as paste special unformatted, but just regular paste so that the URLs would be pasted, the images would be pasted, and then I had to edit every image to center it and give the figure caption where I have captions. I don't have always captions, but where I have them to format them properly. So what happened is for half the chapters, the first paragraph was not justified. So the right-hand side was frazzled. not properly lined up, and no clue why the rest of the paragraphs were. So that was one of the things I had to go through and check every first paragraph of each chapter. And checked every image and figure caption. And so another thing I'm doing is that I avoid this kind of blank space. So this one is maybe acceptable, although since it's a left and right page, I could switch the position of the image and this text block so that the first half of the paragraph would appear here and the second half above the picture, and the picture would be positioned here or a little higher up. Although this page ends nicely with the paragraph, and let's see what happens next. It's kind of a nice separation here, so maybe I won't change it here, but this is something that I've already done in many places of the manuscript. Let's see whether I can remember another area where this had to be done. Here, this figure, I remember increasing the size above the original 100% size. So the resolution is probably not very good, but it will be fine in print. Yeah, here's another example of blank space. Maybe I will have to review the entire manuscript for those areas. Because again, this paragraph would go here. Most of it would fit there. And then there would be, I don't know, 3-4 lines above the figure. Sometimes I have to change the text to say as shown in the figure above instead of as shown in the figure below. We would have the figure in this paragraph, and then probably the whole next paragraph would still fit on that page. This would move up. This looks like I've increased the size, so I would maybe make it smaller again so that then more text, maybe even the entire first paragraph of this subsection would fit there, and then you can see like this will have implication on the whole rest of this chapter. The good thing is, so for example, it might improve this transition and have this start on the page. The good thing is the implication will not go all the way to the end of the book, because this chapter will always start on this page. Even if I lose the entire page here or gain the entire page, this will not move the next chapter in this case. That chapter would only move if I gain or lose 2 pages, right? Because it will always start on the right-hand side. In terms of checking and improving, this all looks good. Yeah, there's not really any generic aspect other than what I've mentioned that I would look at this stage, but I would look through every page. I think I'll skip this here and I will just go on approve, but it doesn't let me without flipping through everything. So there's that. I have one blog post that essentially consists of a list of other people's writing. I didn't want to include that at first, but then I thought of the ebook and thought it might be of interest to ebook readers who can actually click and go through everything. So, but now the approve still is not. Oh yeah, because of the error. Okay, so I guess I cannot show you the last steps, which is the pricing. In order to maybe avoid having to do another video or putting video together, I will show you the pricing calculation separately. And then we'll call it a day, and you can just look at the final results by purchasing the book, perhaps. price calculator, printing cost and royalty calculator. Paperback, standard color interior with white paper, page count 182. And I would like to do Amazon CA, and last time I wasn't allowed, and this time I am. And the first thing, and you have to put a price in, so just put $30 and calculate, and then, oh, but it's US dollars. So yeah, that's the thing. So if you use the standard color interior, as we discussed before, for some reason it's in US dollars. If I used premium color, I could do Canadian, but whatever. So just estimate something so a bit less. And as soon you have to enter something here. And the key is to get this information, minimum list price. So there is a printing price. This is supposedly Amazon's actual cost to print the book, $7.40 US dollars. And then the minimum list price is, so if I enter 1234 here, I don't get royalties for this. So the book can be sold at that price, but the author doesn't get anything from it. So it's the actual cost of printing and whatever else Amazon is charging. And then if you go beyond that, so let's say we do 22, so $10 extra. Is that what I'm getting? No. Estimated royalty 6. So what goes on top, the what's it called? The margin, what's it called in business? Oh my God. Anyways, we don't get the $10. We got 60% of that. I'm a bit surprised because I thought it was 70%. So you can read all about that, the pricing of your book there. But I find the calculator the most interesting. So I did go or keep it relatively low for the books, and I have to think about what this would mean in Canadian. But I would maybe go for something like this, $20, of which I keep less than 5. So this is possibly a time where you might rethink the Amazon route if you have a comparator with one of those other self-publishing options. But remember this upfront cost, which was out of question for me to go. You have this whole area for pricing resources. So it starts with how to price your book. This is the 70% royalty. That's why I thought, or am surprised that it's $6 out of 10, not 7. But maybe we'll figure that out at some point. And what you are missing now, because we can't get to that last tab, is setting the price for different markets. So there's Amazon US, Amazon Canada, Amazon Mexico, Germany, Spain, I think separate. There's in Japan. There's 8 or 10 markets. And you set those prices separately, although you can just with one click say, okay, make it dependent on the Canadian price or the US price. But I did make some modifications because I found it more important that the price is sort of a round number, or I used the 0.95 rather than having the exact same price. So some other markets might make a few cents extra so that I could round the price. Yeah, and that's almost it. But I just remember that I promised to show you my actual sales. So how does that look to see your Sales, well, if you're like me, it's pretty empty, but thankfully someone bought four paperbacks actually. So they possibly bought the four different volumes. I don't see that here. I'm not sure I can ever see what was bought. I just see the units bought and then the money made. Oh, and this was in Europe, on the German market. These are the all the different markets, by the way. So yeah, hopefully your project will be more successful. So at some point earlier on, I did have sales like on a number of days, like 5 to maybe 8 days in the first month or so, which was nice to see. But obviously would be even nicer to see many more sales here. Um, and with that, yeah, okay, let me actually look at my guide here to see if there's anything that I could still mention. So after the preview, which I actually didn't include here, here verify book, I guess, is the preview. If that goes through, then you determine the sales prices and you are pretty much done at that point. You submit the book and then Amazon will take 3 days, possibly maximum, to approve your book. And based on my experience and seeing other critical books published, my impression is that they're looking at formal issues only, such as is the ISBN the correct one? Is there content in the book? Maybe does it look like it's not copied straight from someone else? They do not censor, have not censored me or others. And meanwhile, I have been censored in the academic literature at one point. So that's also part of the positive experience with Amazon that I want to convey here. So, with that, thank you for your interest and good luck with your own project.